Arrington, Hoffman,
Here.
Pollock, Smith,
Here.
Wason.
Here.
On the agenda, we are removing the American Rescue Plan funding discussion, and if we had 4 here, we could go ahead, but I didn't feel comfortable with just 3. So, motion to approve the agenda with a deletion.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Consent agenda. Anything on there you wanted to pull out and talk about first or have questions about?
I just appreciate the feedback about the change order on the Ranshaw. Sounds like now is the time to do that as opposed to waiting to it to leak and cause a problem. So,
Ryan, is that part of, in budgeting for that type of a project, do we have a 10, 15% overage that we build in for that, for the overages, Kevin? Or are we surprised when these things come up?
We're definitely not surprised. We're still at about 1.5%
Okay.
of the construction and change orders right now, which is pretty good.
Okay.
So yeah, we're not surprised. I can't speak to the budgeting, but we typically have a contingency. I don't remember how much is remaining, but
Yeah, and I would just say generally, that's why one of the benefits of borrowing money after the project is over, so that we borrow exactly what we spend, and we don't have to kind of fiddle back and forth after the project's over.
Excellent.
Anything else? If not, a motion to approve the consent agenda, please.
so moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Now's the time for anyone who wishes to make public comment on items that are not on the agenda this evening. Yes, please come up, introduce yourself and your residence.
Hi, I'm Bree Horstman with South Slope. I try to make my rounds to the different cities and communities that we serve at least annually. So it's nice to be here and introduce myself to you guys in person. What I really wanted to do was provide an update, first of all, on our fiber build for the mobile home communities in North Liberty. That's an ongoing project that we've had going this past year. So Holiday Lodge is complete, and they have been converted to fiber. Golf View, Phase 1, which consists of approximately 100 lots, is complete, and they are in the process of being converted over to fiber, with the priority on that west side that's nearest the highway, to be able to begin eliminating some of those pedestals. And then I also like to remind all of our communities of the charity grant that we have available. And that is to 501c organizations for physical and tangible items. That is awarded quarterly up to $2,500. And those have to be non-expendable items with a useful life of more than 1 year. So we've had different groups get a lot of a variety of things, but defibrillators is an example, other items that you could use in that regard. And then, of course, to ask if you all have any feedback for South Slope, and I can leave my card as well, so you can always follow up later.
Any questions for the young lady?
Nope, I've had my landline for 30 years.
Thank you for being a member. All right, thank you.
Well, thank you.
Thanks, Bria.
Thanks for coming.
Kevin, what do you have for us?
okay, I've got several updates. We'll start with the I-380, excuse me, and Penn Street interchange project. We have a presentation prepared related to the community identity and landscaping for that area that we're going to meet with city staff about in the near future, and then we're going to discuss that with the DOT. The whole thought was to incorporate that identity feature for North Liberty and beautification and landscaping in that area, as long as they're going to be redoing that interchange. So I'm kind of excited to share that with city staff in a couple weeks. Rancho Way Phase 5. Let's see. So they've used 72 of their allowable days for that full closure. It's about 92% of the contract. They've been focusing obviously on that, and they've got all the main line paving work done now, and they have 2 pours yet to do to connect it to the existing concrete. We met with them late this afternoon and kind of went through the steps to get this thing reopened. And they're going to be in first thing in the morning and pour the south little piece that they've got to connect. And then they have a north one they'll do. They weren't exactly sure when they'd get that one in. Hopefully on, I don't think they'll get it done tomorrow because it's supposed to rain later in the day, but we'll see. But it's getting close. If they don't do it tomorrow, it'll probably be the next day, or the next day they'll warm them with concrete blankets. So then the next thing we have to wait on is the weather and the temperatures to apply the pavement markings, because it has to be warm enough for those to reliably last through the winter. And it looks like on the long-term weather forecast, it looks like Tuesday is the best possibility, the closest possibility. So that's the game plan right now, is to install the pavement markings on Tuesday. And it's going to take them 1 day to do that. So if that happens, they'll open up the road to traffic, 1 lane in each direction. It'll be the inside lane, and the outside lane will remain to be closed. And that would happen, the soonest would be Tuesday night, Wednesday morning. And if that doesn't happen, the weather forecast looks even better for Wednesday. I think it's supposed to be like 58 on Wednesday. So that's the fallback plan, is to come in on Wednesday. So that's the good news, is that the detour should be over by in about a week and a day or two. So that's great news. And of course, there's lots of other stuff to do on the project, but that's what they're focusing on right now. Centennial Park Loop Road project, they got all the mainline paving done. I saw they were out today backfilling. So they'll have just a few touch-up items in the spring, mainly grading and seeding. So that's good news. And Dubuque Street Phase 1 project, the bidding documents have been completed and they were sent to the printers today. So they are now out for bid. And the schedule for that project is public hearing on November 23rd, bid opening on December 7th, with consideration of award of contract on December 14th. A very quick pool heater replacement update. We understand that the missing heat exchanger and parts have now been delivered to the U.S. and is in the process of shipping to Iowa. The best news that we have is the target date is about December 6th for the indoor pool opening. And lastly, the Forever Green Road Trail project, they completed all the storm sewer installation, and they completed the earthwork and grading just this morning, and they actually started to pave. So they did their first of 3 trail pours this afternoon. I stopped out there and talked to them. Their hope is they're going to come back again tomorrow and do another pour in the morning, and then they'll kind of wait and see what the radar looks like before they stop. But their hope is to have the paving completed by the end of the week. And their substantial completion date is November 30th, so it looks like they're in pretty good shape. That's all I have, unless you have questions.
Questions?
Nope, they were still out there working when I came in.
Really?
Anything else? Thanks, Kevin. Ryan.
Okay, thank you. Just a couple things on my end. You should have, or there was the goals report in the packet. I just want to mention a couple things. I won't, obviously you have access to it to take a deeper dive into it, but we identified in March of 2018 7 significant goals. We have 3 of those completed to date. 2 of them we have some good momentum on and should be completed here in the near future. And then 2 others we haven't made as much progress on that we'd like, but I do think we'll be able to move those forward here early next year. Those 2 include the more comprehensive discussion on the city's role in economic development and the youth council, the mayor's youth council. And our hope is to have our new outreach coordinator help with that youth council activity. This report also identifies not just obviously those 7 goals, but all the city projects or initiatives that our departments are working on or have completed. So feel free to reach out if you have questions on that. And I would just note on a related note that we are looking to schedule the next strategic planning session with the new city council and mayor in probably sometime in the first quarter, most likely March, after we have the budget discussions kind of put to bed. And we'll have obviously contending with a special election or an appointment at some point, depending on what this group decides. So that will be coming down the pike. Then the only other thing I'd mention is that the mayor and I talked about the budget session that we usually have in November, and we're going to try to do that in conjunction with our second meeting in November on the 23rd. We'll go for an early start time of 6 p.m. And have that discussion at that time. So that's what I have on my report tonight, unless there are any questions.
Questions, comments? Thank you. As far as mayor report, had the Johnson County Emergency Management Association meeting earlier this month. Basically, the thrust of that is that finishing up the COVID-19 payments from everything that's been charged off by cities, county, whatever, into that association. So that was finally wrapping up. Metropolitan Planning Organization meets November 17th. Don't have the agenda for that yet. Of particular interest, I think, to the council will be a planning and zoning meeting tomorrow night. And Russ, can you give us a glimpse of that major property?
Sure. So we have the former Rarick property, but Alan Marks has acquired that property. So he's consolidated a couple properties on the east side of Kansas, really at the northeast corner of Kansas and Forever Green Road, but it's about over 100-acre rezoning. So I guess the message I would share is I think sometimes when it gets to the Planning Commission, they don't understand how much, and Alan's great to work with, but, you know, we work together through the annexation and really trying to lay out what we think is the best use and location of zonings. And so that'll be presented to the Planning Commission tomorrow night. So that's the big one.
That'll be the first big step on that one being taken. Okay, thank you. Also, just relay congratulations to the newly elected members of the City Council. I hope you're looking forward to the new terms and a fresh start as of 2022. Okay. Also, just want to remind council, since we only have 3 persons tonight, all resolutions and ordinances must contain a 3-0 vote. So if you come across something that you're a little hesitant on, speak out during the initial discussion of those and we'll deal with it accordingly. Next item is the Urban Renewal Plan Amendment, Resolution number 2021-103. A resolution setting the date for the Urban Renewal Plan Amendment. Want to give us just a brief overview on that one?
Sure. So we've done this a few times over the years where we amend our urban renewal plan to include specific projects. In this case, the 2 projects that we're proposing to include is the North Jones Boulevard extension between Penn Street and 240th Street, and the upcoming City Hall project. Now, just to make sure there's no confusion out there, with the urban renewal plan, you can fund these projects with TIF dollars, although you'll notice in that document it specifically states that the City Hall project is not intended to be funded with TIF dollars. That would be a GO-funded project when we get to that point. However, the Jones Boulevard project would most likely use those TIF dollars. So that's the plan. That's what the plan would say. It does not commit the City Council to spend any money at this point. That will come later.
Thank you. Anyone wish to establish that resolution?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion or questions? Tracy, please.
Smith,
Aye.
Hoffman,
Aye.
Wason.
Aye.
Resolution passes 3 affirmative, none opposed, 2 absent. Item 11, U.S. Cellular Communications Tower. This is a resolution number 2021-104, a resolution approving the application for a communications tower installation at 1302 Progress Street for U.S. Cellular. Give us a general location of that.
Sure. Yeah, it's on the east side of Progress Street, just north of 240th. And so that's just west of Ranshaw Way. It's zone industrial, so it's an industrial area of the city. This would be a 100-foot monopole. And so pursuant to code provisions, it's just a staff review, and we went back and forth about satisfying the code requirements. The plans that are before you today, staff's confident that it meets all code provisions, and so it's before you today, and staff recommends approval. And I know the applicant is in the audience if you have any questions.
Any questions? No, we don't have to have aircraft lights on that one because it's under 200 feet.
It's a 100-foot monopole, so it's
Would you folks like to say anything?
I certainly can.
Please.
Well, I missed an opportunity to address the city council. You want my name and address?
Yes.
Julie Shebeck, 2670 Highway 22, Riverside, Iowa.
Thank you.
Hello. Are you Ryan?
yes.
Oh, hi. Nice
Hi,
to meet
Julie.
you. Yeah, Ryan explained it. Great. We are here seeking approval for the tower. Basically, the tower is here to kind of fill in a gap, so to speak, of where we're at with the existing towers in the community. We're just always looking to improve the coverage for our customers, and we're just here tonight to answer the questions if any of you folks have any. So,
Any questions from folk here?
So Ryan, aesthetically, what's the difference between this and the taller, more unsightly towers that we're seeing across the corridor? What's the difference?
Well, I think, and if you look in your packet, beginning at page like 100, there's a couple photo simulations, and so I just through looking at those, you're going to see it, right? But I think those things tend to blend in the background. When you start getting these really, really tall ones, they get really noticeable, and so while you're going to see it, I think it's one of these things over time. Now that we've gotten used to cell towers, they tend to blend into the background a bit more than they used to. And I also say a monopole is a little bit more attractive than the large guide towers that have the large, guys, and those tend to be very large and visually kind of intrusive, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I was going to say we'll let you off the hook tonight because we did this a couple of years ago with the Verizon tower, and we raked them over the coals on that one.
okay.
So this looks very much like that one, and very comfortable. Ryan, I really appreciate all of the photos from all the different angles. It helped us to kind of see it in the horizon in various parts of the city, so that was a really nice touch.
And I'll pass credit on to them because they're excellent to work with, and they provided all of this information up front. We just had a couple of comments and changes, but they were great to work with.
Cool.
Good.
I like the why we can't put it on the water tower. Very handy.
I was just, if you don't mind, I would echo that. I worked with Ms. Shebeck when she first reached out many months ago to inquire about co-location and other possibilities other than requiring a monopole. So I know that they did explore other options before going this route. So,
And I did appreciate the engineer failure report of what would happen if it had a bad storm, that it would fall within our projected area. So,
Thank you. Anyone wish to establish that resolution?
So moved.
second.
Moved and seconded. Final discussion or questions? Tracy, please.
Hoffman,
Aye.
Smith,
Aye.
Wason.
Aye.
Resolution passes 3 affirmative, none opposed, 2 absent. Next item, county conditional use permit regarding 2757 Kansas Avenue. Who can help me on this one?
Sure. This is a request that the Johnson County Planning Office had forwarded to us. It is obviously surrounded by North Liberty, but it's still in the county. It's on the west side of Kansas, just south of the preserve development. So we're going to expect this, especially with the 100-acre rezoning in Steinler, as this area is going to be developing over the next several years. I believe the property was acquired at some point in the summer, and we noticed some equipment on site, so we just alerted the county to say, we don't know what's going on here, possibly a construction business, and it led to a code enforcement action and this application. So I did speak with the petitioner a little bit just to get a better understanding of the type of business. We are concerned a little bit about the number of vehicles and equipment out there. He indicated over the next 6 months or so that he's looking to sell a lot of those equipments because he doesn't have a lot of employees, but sometimes it's difficult to make a judgment now on something that's going to happen in 6 months. So that's a little bit of a concern staff has. And so I talked to Mr. Heyer, and we felt that as a recommendation that this council could make for approval, if all equipment and vehicles related to the business are stored indoors, that would satisfy our concern about being incompatible with surrounding properties and as future development comes.
So, as I understand, the city council is able to do one of three things: pass a favorable comment with the conditions noted, pass unfavorable comment, or pass nothing at all. So,
And I believe the applicant is in the audience. There he is.
yes, sir. Well, sure.
Well, I'm Alistair Miller. I bought the property back in June, so.
Would you mind just kind of describing the nature of the business and the number of employees you have and the vehicles and the kind of conversations we've had?
Yeah, so I started my business in 2014. Grew up to have as many as 9 employees last summer. I also do have a full-time job doing medical sales, and I landed a position last year which I focus the majority of my time to, and have started to downscale the company since. So one of the services we did do, which is why I do have a lot of equipment, has been snow removal. So we had, I think, 7 plow trucks last year, which are no use to me when I'm not doing snow. So we're not doing that anymore. So that's why I said I would be starting to get sell off the equipment that I do have. So again, conscious of the development of the area, and that's why I did purchase that property, and I would intend fully to work with the city in the future to make sure that what I look to do with that, whether it's sell it or develop it as we go on, is works within what you guys are looking to do. So I can ask direct questions if there's any specifics, but
Alistair, what do you plan to do 5 years from now, 10 years from now with the property, knowing the development that's coming your way up there? Are you really going to have this business as it is located there, or will you do something else with that property?
no, my full intent is, depending on when the area develops, to develop with it. Like
Okay.
I said, whether it's in my best interest to sell it at that time or to, figure out some development that works in that area, then, that's my big picture plan there.
Okay, so the business itself, though, is not most likely going to be located in that spot kind of as it is right now?
No, if I was to still have it at that time or continue with it, then, again, I've got one point at this point in time, I'm not terribly, I'm not looking to really develop it, grow that site too much at this point.
Okay.
So challenges of labor market, et cetera. So no, I would be working to make sure it's not in the way there.
Okay.
Other questions?
What's in the machine shed now?
Not a whole lot at this point in time. I was trying to kind of sheet metal the inside or do, whatever I need to in order to store things in there. So I did have a lot of stuff parked in there, and there's a lot of lime and whatnot in the floor. It's a lime floor, so trying to move that around and work in there, but then juggle it with my other job. I haven't had a whole lot of time to get to that just yet. So
So a lot of stuff could eventually get back in there.
absolutely, yep, absolutely. Again, most of it will be getting sold. I have no use for it, and it's not making me any money. So no use in having it rust. Easy enough.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Anyone wish to make a motion?
Well, I'll just kind of keep conversation going in light of the fact that we need to have this three 3-0 when we're finished.
Not on
So-
this is a simple motion.
Oh, no, this is a simple motion.
Yes.
Okay.
2-1 will work.
2-1 will be fine. Okay. I'll still talk a lot though, if that's helpful. So I'm coming at this from and the reason I asked Alistair this question is what's going to happen to this property. This is not going to be a place where he's going to run this type of a business 5 years from now. So the aesthetics of it all, as we see it right now, is just simply not going to be there in the future. So I'm either of the mindset to do option number 1, which is requiring some additional storage so that the equipment is gone. He's in the process of selling it and trying to get rid of it anyway. Or number 3, just not do anything, not make any comment to the county, because even constructing or forcing an additional building there to hide equipment would be an undue expense. Basically, that's going to be a throwaway expense. So I don't know which is preferred. Staff, you guys have gone through this and you recommend option number 1.
Yeah, and I was under the impression that the equipment would be stored in the existing building because he's selling all of those, a lot of these vehicles, and really, I think with that condition, just helps us, if with the true intent of selling these things, he's going to sell most of the equipment. What he has left could be stored indoors. I would add the conditional use that we reviewed on the Colony property. I think we asked for it to be renewed or re-reviewed in 3 years. That's another option that we could look at in a couple of years and kind of gauge how the area looks in 3 years. That's certainly an option for you as well.
Okay. I'm not of any particular opinion on how to do it. It just won't be there 5 years from now as it is today.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be in the city, so
Yeah.
that's my best guess and stuff. So, he seems like he has a good plan. I mean, he went through all the expense because it was not cheap to go to the county and to get that stuff. So, I'm okay with doing being in favor of it with the condition that we get everything inside within a reasonable amount of time, which maybe.
Yeah, and I would add, as development occurs, right, it's going to occur from the south and brought up to the north. So
Right.
it's going to take some time to extend utilities as we get development. We'll have them extended to the property line, but it's going to take some time to get up to that north. How long that is, it just depends on how much demand is out there for development.
That's my take. It's just vote approve with the condition.
I don't want to see unneeded expense added to the conditions of what he already has. I think I'm on the same side as Chris. I'd rather not say anything rather than disapprove or make it harder for him. It'd be a little different if we were already building closer or the development was already happening. But I think by the time that occurs, I'm not terribly worried about that, and be nice to, partner with you as this thing spins up, because we're not sure what that's going to look like either as we continue. We kind of have a little bit of a medical corridor occurring out there now, so we'll see how that develops. But yeah, I think I'm.
Well,
on
my
the
only
same
thought
page.
was if we don't say anything, then the county may not get the sense that we're okay with it.
Okay.
And I'd
That's
rather
good.
say
Okay.
we're okay with it, but we want to make sure everything's stored inside, and we'll see
Okay.
how it goes.
I gotcha.
And that way they won't give them a reason to deny it,
Yeah, I gotcha.
because I don't think they should deny it at the county level.
Okay.
So the motion would read that we are in favor with the written conditions that have been submitted by the city planner.
Yeah, that sounds right. And if I got this right, you're not building it, not forcing a structure to be built. It's
Right.
just getting them inside and
Yep.
out of, yeah.
Yeah, I would think that the
Or
existing,
sold, which is the plan anyway.
Yep.
So, okay. Yeah, that's how I would read it.
Okay, someone wish to establish that motion?
So moved.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Any final discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. There you go, sir. Thank you.
Thanks, Alistair. Appreciate you being here.
Yep, hope that helps.
Thank you.
That does help quite a bit.
Yeah, it does.
Next item is Jones Boulevard, resolution number 2021-105. A resolution approving the services agreement between the City of North Liberty, Shive Hattery, Inc. for the Jones Boulevard project. Did you want to go in that just a little bit?
Sure. This kind of popped up out of nowhere. As you know, we were working with a developer on adjacent to this road, and the thought process was that the developer would construct this and install it, or construct it, and then we would reimburse the developer for the city's share. And so these types of streets, it's an arterial street, correct? Or is it collector street? So we pay a third, the developer on one side pays a third, and the other developer pays a third. And so that the thought process is we would have paid 2/3 because there's no developer on the east side, and the west side developer pay a third. Well, upon further review, and as a result of a law change in 2018, it's not as easy for cities to enter into these cost share agreements when a street is not a specific requirement of the subdivision code. And so talking with Grant as well as our bond counsel, there was really no other way around it. So what we're proposing is we take the lead on this project, start design. Meanwhile, the developer will move forward with his approval processes, and by the time the road is constructed, so will his subdivision be, and it should all work out in the end. Now we'll have some developer agreements along the way, so that will outline or define who's paying for what. But that's where we're at. That's what we're recommending to move forward with now to get Jones Boulevard constructed.
Questions?
And in the future, as the east side develops, we would then collect.
That's correct. So if you think about it, if I could just give a quick example, Kansas Avenue is a good one, or even St. Andrews Drive. Those roads were put in before the preserve happened. When they came to develop, part of the developer's agreement included a cost per foot for both of those roads before they could final plat.
Grant, does there have to be any protections put into this where we're constructing this under a strong assumption that the developer is going to move forward, but there are a lot of things that can trip up a developer, especially in a large development like that, and we break ground and the road gets poured and then he says, I lost a partner and it's not happening. Then what?
Well, that's a great question. If they're unable to comply, we will have bid the project through public bidding, right? And that will go out to the lowest bidder, and the road will be built. If a developer defaults on their obligation, that would be pursuant to a developer's agreement, and we would have action. We would be able to take action that way.
Yeah, and if I could just jump in, I think what Kevin and I actually talked about earlier, from a design standpoint, we start the design, but we don't, I mean, by the time we go out for bid, there's going to be a lot of dirt moving already on that subdivision. If there's no dirt moving, we can tap the brakes and say, okay, we're not going to go out for bid. So while we would have the expense for design on this, we could shelve that if we wanted to and come back to it at a later time.
And one more point, and I'll be done. That obviously will be really nice to have that thoroughfare through there. A great connection. We've been missing that for a long time. So aside from that, should something occur, I guess to your point, reevaluate if that does occur, because eventually we would collect anyway.
Yeah, the agreement and the obligation would run with the land. I mean, it would. There's the value for the road is there, right? Whether or not some terrible misfortune befalls the developer, this case or this time around, there is enough there. I would suspect to have the city's risk be relatively minimal. That you wouldn't be able to be made whole, especially the way real estate prices are going around here. I expect that nothing, but that's a valid concern. And so my job is to make sure that we draft an agreement that would be enforceable and would run with the land.
And if we did do the design work, that doesn't mean it wouldn't be used at a later date if something would really collapse.
And it wouldn't be the worst thing if we constructed a road and something
No.
happened on that development side. To your point, Brent, this is a road that would be of great value out there anyway. So I think the worst case scenario is that we have a road that goes through finally, but maybe not development that's there yet. So either way, I'm fine.
And keep in mind, this is not going to be the last time it's in front of you. I mean, we'll be
Oh,
talking,
no.
you know, as the project nears closer, it'll require approvals on both the public and private side of things. So you'll be seeing a lot more of this. Well, you won't be, but these guys will.
I'll be reading about it in the paper.
Yeah, right.
All right, resolution number 2021-105. Anyone wish to establish that resolution?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Final questions? Tracy, please.
Smith,
Aye.
Hoffman,
Aye.
Wason.
Aye.
Resolution passes 3 affirmative, none opposed, 2 absent. Item 14, Mickelson second. This will be a resolution number 2021-106, a resolution approving the developer's agreement for Mickelson second edition. Anyone wish to establish that resolution?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Final discussion or questions?
I just had a question. I actually
Sure.
haven't driven down there. So are those turnarounds for the fire trucks in there?
You know, I didn't believe so.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else? Okay. Tracy, take a roll.
Hoffman,
Aye.
Smith,
Aye.
Wason.
Aye.
Resolution passes 3 affirmative, none opposed, 2 absent. Depository Resolution number 2021-107. A resolution designated, turn to page 2. Hills Bank and Trust, Midwest One, Green State Credit Union, Great Western Bank, Collins Community Credit Union, Two Rivers Bank and Trust, and U.S. Bank as depositories for public funds belonging to the city of North Liberty, Iowa. Anyone wish to establish that resolution?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion or questions? Yes.
I just generally ask this question each time we do this. Do we have, are the FDIC approved or insured at these dollar amounts as well?
FDIC is secondary. They have coverage with the state of Iowa
Okay.
that backs our deposits.
Okay. Okay. It's always good to have that on record. Thank you.
Yep, it is.
What is our maximum we can keep at each bank now? Or
It is now 15 million at Hills Bank. I have to look at the memo. I don't remember the number. It would be 15 million at Hills Bank, 10 million at Midwest One, and then 7 million at the others.
Anything else? Tracy, please.
Hoffman,
Aye.
Smith,
Aye.
Wason.
aye.
Resolution passes 3 affirmative, none opposed, 2 absent. Next item, snowmobile ordinance. It would be the third and final consideration and adoption of ordinance number 2021-16, an ordinance amending Chapter 75 of the North Liberty Code of Ordinances concerning permitted uses of snowmobiles within city limits. Anyone wish to establish that third and final?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion or questions?
Ryan, I know they don't have permission now. Are they able to get permission, or if they do get permission in the future from the private that they're searching to get, are they able to do so after this agreement's in place with the thoroughfares?
Yeah, and actually it'll be easier for them because of the resolution.
And better for us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
One time and done.
we'll still encourage them, and they're actively trying. It just didn't happen this year. So.
Okay. Tracy, please.
Wason,
Aye.
Hoffman,
Aye.
Smith.
Aye.
Third and final consideration passes 3 affirmative, none opposed, 2 absent. Along with that is resolution number 2021-108, a resolution adopting a map designating routes for the operation of snowmobiles within city limits. Anyone have any questions about the maps ahead of time? Anyone wish to establish the resolution?
I will do that.
I will second it.
Moved and seconded. Final discussion or questions?
Just appreciate all the staff trying to figure that out, so.
Tracy, please.
Smith,
Aye.
Hoffman,
Aye.
Wason.
Aye.
Resolution passes, 3 affirmative, none opposed, 2 absent. Next is the criminal penalty ordinance. This will be the third and final consideration and adoption of ordinance 2021-17, an ordinance amending the standard criminal penalty in chapter 1.14 of the North Liberty Code of Ordinances. Anyone wish to establish the third and final?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Questions or discussion? Tracy?
Hoffman,
Aye.
Wason,
Aye.
Smith.
Aye.
Third and final consideration passes 3 affirmative, none opposed, 2 absent. Old business. Yes.
Mayor, I would just turn back to a post from our fire department in this week in losing one of their own in Richard Newkirk. I saw the mayor and Tracy there. I know others of you attended services. That meant a lot to the fire department. We wish our fire department brothers and sisters well, and as well as his family. We want to thank Solon Fire Department for staffing our station and allowing our entire department to go to services. That meant a lot. Thank you also to Corville and Tiffin for standing by. That meant a lot, so thank you.
Yeah, we got a thank you message sent to Solon Fire Department, so
Excellent, thank you.
we had it covered that way as well. Any other old business? New business? Yes.
So just just let the staff know they did a very nice job with all the Halloween stuff for the kids this year. There's a lot of stuff going on, and it looked like a lot of kids had a lot of a good time. So, and the weather was nice. So,
Thank goodness.
Ryan and Mayor and I attended the Penn Street Place groundbreaking tonight over by Tin Roost. So you'll notice that there's been some dirt moved over there. Excited about that project. Want to thank Mr. Pratt for his continued support of the city and his investment in our city.
I don't think it'll be the last time we'll see him.
that's going to be a good
Anything else?
project.
If not, we stand adjourned.
Well, it was going to be. Well, we had the APRA.